What's the haps? I'm Meroka, and today I'm only taking a quick look at Trulon, the Shadow Engine, by Kai Games. This is an RPG. I would almost be inclined to suggest it was a JRPG, but it's never been anywhere near Japan in its life. It is in fact Finnish. It is a... I do think it fits the JRPG moniker. It certainly borrows a lot of ideas, tropes, mechanics, themes, what have you from JRPGs. It feels a lot like one, so I'm going to keep calling it that, I think. It's an odd one. It is a card-based system, which, to be fair, I've not really seen anything of the like since Bait and Kaito's on the GameCube, I guess? I imagine there are probably others, but that was certainly the last one I played, and it's certainly a very, very different beast to that. Let's have a look at the options setting first, anyway. It is a Unity game, so a lot of your graphics are in there, your resolution are in the Unity launcher, and then there is two options on there of normal and fast quality, which is... You know, normally there would be more on Unity, they've cut that down somewhat, but there are also post-processing effects here. We can turn on ambient occlusion, bloom, color grading, anti-aliasing, vignetting, and dithering here, which is not well explained what some of those do. Some of those could use tooltips. Some of those could definitely use tooltips. Color grading, I don't know what that does, like, at all. Vignette, don't know what that does. Dithering, not rightly sure either, if I'm honest. And some of the others, like anti-aliasing, it doesn't explain what kind of anti-aliasing. That would be, you know, just nice information to have, if we're honest. So, it could be a little better in that regard. The language, we have English, Finnish, German, and Russian. For some reason, the game weirdly seems to lock up a lot when I select Russian. I don't know why that does that. What gives Russia? Anyway, I presume it's an odd mix of languages. I presume the translation options the devs had access to making the game in, really. We have audio on separate sliders, so that's always nice to see. I always like to see that. And yeah, that's your options menu. Nothing in the manner of input, because it's entirely mouse-driven. I will get into that in greater detail, but I will say I feel like a lot of this game feels like it may be designed for mobile first and foremost. So we are an RPG, which on the world map, which is where we are at the minute, looks almost deceptively pixel art. For some reason it's only, well, it's a weird mix of art styles. You got some 3D modelling going on, you got some low poly, but nonetheless polygonal stuff going on, like the world around us. Our character is pixel art here, but in towns, like if we were to wander into the nearby city of Melon, we can have a look. Have a quick look. Our character is suddenly not pixel art anymore. It's a 2D sprite. A cute stylized 2D sprite. Okay. So there's an odd mix of art styles going on here. It's an interesting aesthetic. It's kind of a cute aesthetic. I kind of like it, but odd nonetheless. So this is what I was kind of wanting to find by wandering around out here. We have... They're not really random battles, but they kind of are. They are investigations. They're not random battles insofar as you can just turn them down. You can just say, no, I don't want to see what this is. I guess that's if you're just wanting to wander across the surface of the world. You can ignore random battles, which is a nice option to have, to be honest. Random battles can get kind of annoying, if we're honest. So we have these guys. These guys are a fight. There might not always be fights in investigations. Investigations are not always fights. They're not always random battles. Sometimes there will be a treasure chest, or maybe just a little bit of XP and some mana, basically, in here. But then sometimes it will throw a few enemies at you, as it has done here, so there's just an odd mix of a big bad soldier in steampunk regalia, a fly, a really, really big fly, and a slightly distracted-looking bear, who sports a marking that makes me feel like it's a druid from World of Warcraft, if I'm completely honest, but hey, there you go. Before we get into this fight, I am going to have a look at our characters. We're going to have a look at what our characters are and what they do. Our protagonist here, the lovely Ms. Gladia, is mostly our DPS, if we're honest. She is a level 11 monster hunter, and she hits things hard, is kind of what she does. She has a variety of different equipments, but they're not terribly interesting or unique to her because all the characters have the same options, really. We have Mr. Farah is a apprentice sorcerer. He basically he does magic damage and he does some healing, a little bit of buffing as well. And we've got Roth, who's kind of a tanky kind of guy and extremely steampunk. Game likes steampunk. I like my steampunk. I'm okay with this. He is wearing goggles, and then goggles above his goggles, and then a strange sort of lens device above his goggles, which could or could not be called goggles, I don't know. And then I've also equipped him out in one of his mechanism slots with something else that has goggles on it, because why wouldn't you, obviously? Because steampunk, that's why. At any rate, yeah, we've got these mechanisms, and everybody kind of shares the same pool. These ones are not... They've got some interesting stuff going on, but they're not interesting on a per character basis. They're just generally reasonably interesting things. Some of them are just flat stat upgrades, and they're nice to have. Flat stats are okay, I guess. But then there are some that are not flat stats, and they're like, oh, these are interesting. I would like to equip my guys with these. So, for starters, you can see we've got two here. Assault Tactics double defense for next turn, and Assault Tactics unstabilizes the target. They're not going to make a lot of sense until we get into combat, but you will see that there are a lot of interesting synergies that we can do with these. So a lot of sort of tactics and strategies are going to revolve around how and when and where and how effectively you can deploy Assault Tactics against the enemy. We have on our healer, I have Assault Tactics will heal my healer, and then I got a few stats on him. He's got some health just to keep him alive a bit longer, and some bonus magic because he is a magic caster, so hey, why not have 15 magic on him? On my DPS, we've got Assault Tactics will stun a target, that's a fun one, and Assault Tactics will set targets on fire for 3 turns, dealing 20 damage per turn. That seems to be a flat rate regardless of the enemy that you apply that to, so just a bonus 60 damage to the enemy. I feel like, you know, later on in the game when enemies have a lot more health, or against bosses, it's less effective, but against sort of trash, it's actually pretty good. And I guess it would be worth suggesting that you should swap these out before a lot of fights. It's not something I have been doing, but maybe one should tailor one's tactics to what one's going to fight. Certainly with bosses, if you're getting beaten by a boss, which I have been doing, it's reasonably challenging in some places, it's worth changing your strategies, I guess. So let's go fight these guys. I'll go stick with my standard gear. So we have a card-based system, and we're going to draw cards and we're going to play them against the enemy. So, it's a strange way to display them. I guess the display is mildly bugged there. At any rate, yeah, we have a hand of cards, which seems to, I think, be based on levels of characters, actually, if I'm honest. When, at the start of the game, characters only have 3, later on they have 4, they've just turned level 11, and now they can carry 5 cards at a time in their hands, so I guess it will increase every 5 levels or something, we'll get an extra card. So we get 5 cards in our hand, we've got our decks up here, we'll have a look through some of the cards later after this fight, but for the moment we're just going to play them. So some of the cards can be used by any character, stuff like that, that doesn't have any requirements. Obviously it's in his deck, so he's going to be playing it, but anybody could use that. That one's got his face on it, this one's specific to his character. He will deal magic damage to a single enemy. Or this one will, for a cost of mana, 8 mana of his 22 mana pool, he will deal magic damage to all enemies. And we have a Daring Blow, which is got a little lightning bolt on it, you will note. So you can see it's an attack that boosts my attack and lowers my defense, but the lightning bolt's the interesting one because that triggers the effects that we saw in our loadout. So if you'll recall that his ability is whenever he plays anything that has a lightning bolt, he will regain hit points. So he's slightly down on hit points, so I probably don't need to play that, but if I use this against, I will probably play against the bear, I guess. That will heal him slightly, so there we go. Assault ability, because it has the lightning. A lightning bolt implies an assault ability, so that will heal him for 50 hit points, and then we get to do the attack. A couple of buff icons and debuff icons here will tell us that those effects have been played. Admittedly, I don't know how powerful or what have you, what values those icons dictate, because it's not always the same. You can buff your defense by 50%. There are other cards that buff your defense by 100%. There are cards that buff your attack by 50%, there are other cards I have in my hand that buff by 75%. They all have the same buff and debuff icon, it's kind of hard to tell. Likewise, enemies, it's not always clear, unless you're specifically attacking them, kind of what states they're in and how effective things work. It'd be nice just to have their health on the screen all the time, and their debuffs and things as well, and just to be able to have tooltips when you hover over things to tell you what things are. I want to know how powerful that attack is, I want to know how powerful that debuff is, I want to know what the debuffs on the enemies are. There are some debuffs that are introduced into the game before the game actually tells you what those debuffs are. So, you know, status ailments kind of things. You kind of would like to be able to hover over it and go, oh, that's what that does, I can now take advantage of this, or protect against this, or what have you. So I'm just going to attack all enemies in a single shot, I think. We've got this one, that is one of my assault abilities, but unfortunately, by the way, the assault abilities are random, only 1 in 5 cards has them, and all of her abilities are attack ones, and the assault has been applied to a defensive one. That's actually really kind of poor luck, to be honest. That would normally, any attack that has that on for her will stun the enemy and ignite the enemy, but I'm not attacking anyone because it's a defensive kind of buff ability. So, that's kind of no use here. All I can do is hit everyone. Let's hit everyone, because that's what we do. We shoot things with guns and deal damage to all of them. That's how things work around here. So he's going to get a defense debuff. It's worth noting for hitting it, but I won't know until I, you know, try and hit it. So he's got a protective stance, will give me defense for 1 turn, and that's his assault ability. His assault ability is going to improve my defense by an extra 100%, actually, so he's going to have like a ridiculously high defense. And I think it should also unstabilize anything that I hit, which will be nice, because that will mean that the enemy that I hit will also take bonus magic damage. I kind of tend to place that on the bear, because the bears are kind of nasty, but the bears also do have a ability that unstabilizes themselves, so I might actually, maybe Bastafly is probably the way forward. So there you go, Assault unstabilized as well as Assault defense doubled. So the bear's raging. I don't know what that is or does. I almost feel like that's skipping a turn, so yeah, his defense is so high, that's 14 damage, that's nothing. The bear has no buffs or debuff icons on it, it says Rage. Rage might be preparing for another attack, come to think about it, but I'm not sure. We've got this one, allows us to combo some stuff, so regain hit points and play another tactic, so that allows me to play 2 cards in one go. So I'm going to heal myself because it's my assault ability, and heal myself because it's that card. And now I can deal magic damage to a single enemy, and that one's got the little chaos icon on it, which tells me it's been unstabilized. But I only know that because I know that. That means I should do like ridiculous damage to it with magic now. There we go, 178. It's going to destroy that fly. Destroy it. Now we can actually stun. I know the bear. I think the bear is winding up for something nasty, so maybe stunning it would be a good move. We can apply our assault effects there by stunning and igniting it, so it's going to skip its next turn. Which is totally what I want. That missed. That was just fortunate, honestly. I can stun people with a stun grenade. That might be worthwhile. With the bears up next, then the fly. If I could kill the fly, that'd be rather nice. Whether I can do that or not, I don't know. Probably not, so I'm just going to hit it with the stun, actually. That way it misses its turn. So the bear's going to take the fire damage, stun so it misses its turn, fly stun so it misses its turn, and now we're back around to our mage. We can deal magic damage to all enemies, but he doesn't have a lot of mana, and that is a good amount of mana. It's not the easiest thing in the world to restore, so I'm not going to play that, I don't think. I think it would be better off just hitting things, to be honest. We can probably kill that bear, if I'm honest. There we go, bear's out of action. That's good. We got attack, 50%, could probably finish off the fly. Bonus defense, plus 75%, that's a rather nice one, that is a very nice one. Let's hit the soldier with that, because I want to get as much out of that as I can. 120 damage, that's good, that's good. So you'll notice this combat's kind of going... Well, it's going a little slow. This is a friggin' trash fight. I know I'm going a little slower just on the basis that I'm trying to demonstrate to you, but the fights don't play out a whole heck of a lot faster than this. Really. Who's up next? Fly's up next, use that. Every single ability you do, you see this whole animation, everything swooshes in and everybody plays their effects. It'd be nice to be able to turn these off, to be honest. You don't need to see this every time. The first time you see it, it's like, hey, that's kind of cool. But it doesn't need to be there every time. So I don't want to be doing magic damage. I don't want to cast buffs at this stage. I have no need for revives. That I'm not sure about at all. I've not found many good uses for that. I might not have even put those in my decks, to be honest. I might start taking those out, but this will move me down the turn chain by 1 slot. If you know what cards your teammates have, you might be able to figure out some sort of interesting strategy using them, but I'm not sure that's necessarily true. Honestly, just because quite frankly, you don't necessarily know what cards you've got. Unless you've got a really good memory and you can remember exactly specifically what you've drawn and what you had, you're not going to know, because I've got no way to see what my other characters have. This is another kind of communication and interface issue that I have with this game. It's just like, there's just not enough information about what's going on in the battle provided to you. It's just kind of a little bit frustrating in that regard. So with all those out of play, I think I'm going to go with one of these. The wild card attack with plus 50% defense kind of seems nice. So we play that, and wild card will be replaced by a different one next turn. So, or should be replaced. They just seem to be random out of all the abilities that all the characters have. There's never going to be a character-specific one. It wasn't. It was randomly. I've got the same card again. But I'm going to increase my defense. So he's got... What did he do? He's got what appears to be a... Is that a magic shield? I think that's a magic shield. So I should just hit him very hard, I guess. That is a plus damage and a taunt, so he's going to be forced to attack that guy next turn. Or Roth is going to take the hit. I don't think there is not really any threat to Roth at this stage, so that's okay. Oh god, is this guy nearly dead? I think this guy's nearly dead. Yeah, let's finish him off. Let's do it! Go down, sir. That's got him. That was a little bit too long for a trash fight, if I'm honest. Just a little bit too long. There's nothing else of interest here. We got our experience. We got 12 whatnots there. That's going to level up our characters slowly but surely, which is kind of necessary, because I feel like there's just a little bit more grinding than strictly necessary for... Hey, there's a treasure chest there. What is that? What is that about? Evolved Aggressor. I'm not sure what that was for. I don't know why there was a treasure chest there. That was not well explained. Huh. Okay. I got an Evolved Aggressor. Sure. Eh? Why was that there? There was something that was there a while back. One of the side quests here, the treasure maps, occasionally gives you quests that's like, hey, there's a thing hidden on the world map in this vague location, and there was one outside that field, and I think that was where it was, but whether there was a bug there that's like replaced the treasure, I don't know. That's kind of strange. I really don't know. At any rate, we can have a look at the cards. This is a card management system. So we've got all the cards that a lot of these can just be taken out, and you can just take them out at will and give them to another character if you so desire. You can drag and drop them in there. There doesn't seem to be any limit to how many cards each character can have, so I guess I could try taking a bunch out and putting them into another character slot to see if I could hit like a card cap, but I've not hit one yet. This guy's got 17 at least, which is ample for now at any rate. And yeah, you just keep adding cards until you've got something you like. There's some cards that are like the wait for it. I feel like not so unuseful that I feel like I'd rather not have it in. Just insofar as maybe more interesting cards would be drawn in their stead. I'd prefer to have more interesting cards get drawn into my hand than those ones. I thought I had more of that actually. I guess I only have the one. So maybe I would like to remove that, but that's the only real tactical decision. Most of it's just like, hey, if it has that character's face on it, you give it to that character. They're probably going to want it sooner or later. Maybe I don't want 2 revives, maybe 2 revives is too much, but maybe I'm going to a boss fight and maybe I want to add it. Maybe there's a degree of customization for before boss fights, but I've just not found myself using it so far. It seems like it has the potential to expand into a more complex system, but thus far, at just shy of 4 hours into the game, I guess it's taken me a quarter of an hour to beat that boss. I probably am over 4 hours into the game now, which reports on the Steam forum suggest is about a quarter of the way through the game. A lot of people saying it's 15, maybe 20 hours of gameplay in here, so I should be about a quarter of the way through the game. And yeah, let's investigate, let's see what's in here. Is it a fight? It is. Let's wander out. I just want to find some treasure. Let's wander around and find some treasure. So yeah, this far into the game, I feel like things should be, you know, getting reasonably interesting, and they're just sort of kind of not. Not even narratively speaking. I mean, the story so far has been... It could have been written out of a TV tropes page. It's just a lot of very, very bland, generic JRPG stuff. Girl lives in small, remote village. Bad things start happening around village. Girl goes investigates, finds misdeeds and devious shenanigans from neighbouring town. Against the advice of elders, wanders off to go investigate shenanigans from neighbouring town. Other stragglers tag along and join her on her quest and collect cards and loot and go and get themselves better until they are able to defeat the big bad, presumably. I'm imagining there will be a big bad. It wouldn't be a JRPG without a big bad. But so far, yeah, I'm not aware of a big bad. So far, it's just kind of wander around and investigate these misdeeds. There are some side quests, as I saw. We've got the kind of the main one is, yeah, find an inventor who knows about the device in Melon City. So that's our main overarching thing. But then all these side quests will pop up as well. As a merchant looking for something in a warehouse. We're looking for something in the merchant's warehouse, rather. We've got all these little treasure. I don't know what the phrase I'm trying to say here is. Treasure hunting, I guess? Treasure hunt. Yeah, these treasure hunts. Yeah, let's call it that. That's an accurate description. Let's call them a treasure hunt. The treasure hunts are going to pop up. They're all listed concisely in here, so they'll just be listed down here. Each of those bullet points is a treasure to find. And yeah, slay a monster in the Undercity is a boss I've attempted twice now and failed at. It's rather nasty, to be honest, so I'm not going to bore you with that. I could be there a while on that one, I think. So yeah, this is the game. I was wandering around doing this. And the story is mostly unengaging so far, I will say. I feel like it could be so much better, but so far I'm not finding it. Let's just throw some of those unstabilizing mechanics in there. There we go. There's arcane distortion. Wonderful. Which means magic will do some damage. Can raise attack, heal allies. Go with some daring blows, I suppose. Why not? Burn someone down. So yeah, story's not the most engaging of things. Soundtrack's kind of cool. I dig the soundtrack. Soundtrack's alright, and visually speaking, in spite of the odd mix of visual styles, you've got the pixel art on the overworld, you've got some pixel art in the combat, and then some of it's just 2D stuff, and then there's some 3D stuff in there as well. It's a strange mix, but visually speaking, I like it. I mean, I like steampunk generally, though, so yeah. Haste is one of the interesting ones. Haste does allow for some interesting tactics, because obviously he's got things like targets taunt only you, taunt targets attack only you. Attack all enemies and taunt to make them attack. That's really good. And then if I don't in this instance, if I had an assault ability, it would double my attack as well. Sometimes you could get that on your taunt, so you could have a taunt that also buffs your defense. You can get some interesting synergies out of the cards. They're kind of cool. So yeah, let's do that. Why not? There we go. Haste and attack all enemies. Yep. Bam, attack everything. Everything, that's fun, that's a lot of damage. And then I could also... well, I could turn the next damage into healing. That would be a nice little play, wouldn't it? That would be alright. So if I was to play turn all damage into healing, he's taunted now, so that'd be good. Admittedly, he doesn't have much mana, so I'm kind of tempted to just ease off on that, actually. I might just hit the Mayhem Fly and try and take that out of action. I don't think... is that going to work? It did work. Excellent. They're down to 3 enemies. Visually, yeah, it's fun. Music, I like. Story has not engaged me. Quarter of the way through, as far as I can make out, a JRPG. I would hope there would be some interesting hook to bring me in, and there kind of isn't. That's right. Oh, I could do a double attack here, but it wouldn't be a very good attack. I suppose we'll just hit everything. That's fine. The combat I'm enjoying, but it's just a little slow, and the lack of communication is really frustrating. Let's heal up with that. Not that I need to heal up in any way, shape, or form, and gain me some evasion. That's a nice maneuver. If the game communicated what was going on better, it would be a lot nicer, and if we just didn't have to sit through those animations every time, it'd be a lot nicer. It's got a lot of things going on that are pretty okay, but then it's got a lot of things going on that are just frustrating. So I'm kind of on the fence with this whole thing. I would be hard pressed to recommend this game. It's doing some cool stuff, but I don't think there's a lot of people I'm going to say, hey, you have to play this game to. People who like steampunk, I think, are definitely going to dig the style. Absolutely, that's true. Can we kill one of these bears? That one's defense is down. Surely we can kill that bear. If you like steampunk, it's a very, very, very cool style. It's a nice little world. I dig it. But beyond that, I don't know. I think there are better RPG experiences out there, unfortunately. Anyway, this is out. I feel I'm rambling at this stage, so maybe I should wrap this up. I'm not sure how much more there is to show you of this RPG. It is out now on Steam. It's been out for about a week or so. Came out on the 1st of March. Available for Windows, Mac, and Linux, as is often the way with Unity, being such a flexible platform. It is available for the princely sum of £14.99 or your regional equivalent. As I say, the reports that are sort of available on Steam forums sort of suggest that that's going to bring you somewhere in the region of 15 to 20 hours worth of entertainment. Some people are going to feel like maybe that's a little steep for that, when you consider that, well, there are a lot of games out there that provide similar amounts of entertainment for less money, but that's one of those personal kind of value calls, so I'm going to... Can we hit it with that? Let's hit it with that, yeah. Cool. Yeah, that's one of those judgment calls that you're going to have to make for yourself, I'm afraid. For me, this is not going on any recommendations list, I'm sorry. It's not an awful game. It's definitely not an awful game. I won't call. I would never deign to call it that, but I won't be recommending it, I'm afraid. Alright, so there we go, with our victory and 1000 XP carefully in our pockets. Thank you very much for watching. I've been Meroka. This has been Trulon, the Shadow Engine. I'll see you next time.